Welcome to the podcast. I'm Max.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Mae, and we were had. Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were.
Okay, so today we are talking about the West Memphis 3.
Right.
This is insane. So we're going to be talking about who done it, because in my opinion, it was not the people that served time. It's most people's opinion as well.
Wow.
It's going to be a long one, so buckle up. There's been some crazy new developments in this case. It is like one of the
recently?
first. Yeah. There's it's probably one of my first like favorite murders, if you will.
Right. When you got into
Yeah.
the craft of murdering.
Right.
What made you consider killing a career?
The documentary Paradise Lost. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, and Paradise Lost is about this.
Yes.
I thought Paradise Lost was a film by a famous director. What's that?
Well, Paradise Lost is a very famous book
Right.
from the 1600s.
That's what I'm thinking of. That book that I've read. Totally.
So you guys aren't familiar with this case at all?
Not in the slightest.
I am not.
Okay, not in the slightest. You didn't look anything up or anything. I just want to know how like fresh eyes were going in.
Googled
with this.
West Memphis 3, and then I was like, she'll explain.
Okay, it's crazy. And I want to put out like, we don't normally do this, but I just want to say to anybody listening, there's a lot of fucked up shit in this. It's graphic. It's a bummer from a lot of angles. Involves child abuse and murder. So just putting that out there.
So it's an official We Were Had bummer.
Yo, yeah, it's crazy.
Cool.
I just slap a bummer like
Yeah.
bummer.
I mean, it's quite a doozy from literally every angle. So let's just get into it. So
Okay.
I got a lot of my information from Paradise Lost, which is a documentary
Right.
about the case. The Reese Witherspoon movie Devil's Knot,
Wow.
which sucked, by the way. And have you seen that movie?
Devil's Knot, no.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I was wondering where you were going to go with Reese Witherspoon
yeah.
movie. Most of her
Yeah,
movies
yeah.
are kind of light.
Yeah. So in this one, it's a rom-com where she falls for the West
Right.
Memphis 3.
She gets into Harvard.
She gets into Harvard. Well, like it's hard. I'd watch that movie.
She has to go down to the jail in between her classes. Anyway, so, and also some excerpts from Damien Echols' book, Life After Death. Pretty clever title, if you ask me.
And famously, this case, the three guys, they were found guilty because they forgot that the cardinal rule of hair care is that you cannot get your hair wet within 30 minutes of getting a perm.
They tripped up on the stand.
They
yes.
tripped up on the stand.
All right, guys. So the year is 1993. The town is West Memphis, Arkansas. So the town, at least at the time, super small, super conservative, very, very impoverished, extremely religious, and also
not usually a good combination.
No.
Also, can I say, already the first twist in the case, West Memphis, Arkansas?
I was crazy.
Who saw that
Didn't
coming?
I don't know.
Listen,
The hits are already coming.
Well, we were ad, folks. West Memphis, Arkansas. Okay.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
Okay.
double checked it a few times because I was like, "What if it's West Memphis, Tennessee?" And people were like, "She's already getting facts wrong this early on."
Yeah. And they will be quick in the comments to tell us.
Oh, I'll probably get a lot of hate for this one, but anyway, whatever. Okay, so all of this is going on. It's important to remember that this is during the Satanic Panic, when a lot of people thought that there was literally like occult activity and Satan worshiping in the woods and all this crazy shit that people really truly believed in. And so there was also a lot of evangelical documentaries that came out during this time that the people in West Memphis were really tied to. They said that demon worship was a direct result of heavy metal music, like just, par for the course, that kind of thing. All right, so May 5th, 1993 at 6 p.m., Chris Byers, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch are seen riding their bikes near Robin Hood Hills in West Memphis. So that same day at 8 p.m., so 2 hours after that, John Mark Byers, who's Christopher Byers, one of the boys' stepfathers, calls the West Memphis police to report a missing child. 10 minutes later, an officer shows up to interview Byers. By 8:30, Byers reported later he began searching the wooded area with his boy, where his boy sometimes played in the Robin Hood Hills. So it's like a really heavily wooded area. It's kind of like one of these places, like a nightmare for parents, but kids always go in there because it's really dense and you can get away with a lot. But like, it's an 8-year-old boy. He's, what are they doing?
Smoking
Like,
doobs.
right. They're like playing with slingshots or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, so
Exactly what you do.
yeah. Okay, so 9 p.m. Two mothers, Dana Moore and Pamela Hobbs, called to report that their 8-year-old sons, Michael Moore and Stevie Branch, are missing. So the following day, Gary Gitchell, chief inspector of the West Memphis Police Department, announces that the 3 boys are missing, and he's going to be the one directing the search efforts. So the whole community is like, what the fuck?
How small is this town?
It's actually not that small. There was, I think, 30,000 people in it. So
Good size.
Yeah, it's a good size. So Gary's under a ton of pressure. Obviously, there's like a huge case. 3 young boys are missing. So he's under the freaking gun. Okay. Anyway, so let's see. So then that same day, the next day after they disappeared, at 1:45 p.m., the search efforts unfortunately discovered 3 bodies confirmed to be the missing 8-year-old boys, Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byer. So I'm going to get into the state of the bodies. Okay, so juvenile police officer Steve Jobs spotted a boy's black shoe floating in the muddy creek that led to a major drainage canal in Robin Hood Hills. A subsequent search of the ditch revealed that the bodies of the 3 boys. So they found all 3 boys. There was like their bikes around. There was actually only 2 bikes, but it was theorized that maybe like one of them was on the back of someone else's bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The pegs.
Right. So the boys had been stripped naked and they were hogtied with their own shoelaces. So it was right hand to right ankle, left hand to left ankle, which is actually something that people do in Vietnam or had done in Vietnam. So a lot of like veterans did that when they would catch prisoners. So that was sort of a theory that it was someone that got back from Nam.
Okay.
You know. Their clothing was found in the creek, some of it twisted around sticks that had been thrust into the muddy ditch bed. The clothing had mostly been turned inside out, and 2 of the boys' underwear were never recovered. Christopher Byers had lacerations to various parts of his body, and his penis was missing. Yeah.
This is a sad start.
This is a tough one.
It's
I
tough.
don't like it.
And there's actually more to it because like that's the whole reason the town thought that it was like a satanic ritual.
Yeah.
But then it was theorized later on that a snapping turtle took it.
Oh. Why was I about to be like, thank God?
Wait, a snapping
turtle ate his penis.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was like
a snapping
term
turtle
that
did the murders?
No, I thought it was a term that I didn't know.
No.
Oh, yeah, the snapping turtle did it.
Yeah.
It was a snap.
No, a literal animal.
A literal animal. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So the autopsies confirmed that Christopher Byers, the one who had the mutilated genitals, died of multiple injuries, while Moore and Branch died of multiple injuries while drowning. So that is interesting because then it would point to maybe the person that did this would be closer to Byers and the other 2 just happened to be there. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So police initially suspected that the boys had been raped, but then later on they found out that they did not. So there was no indication that they had been raped.
Okay.
They were just
Killed. And tied up, but drowned?
Yeah.
So only one drowned?
No, they all drowned, but it was concluded that one of them had a bunch of injuries. 2 definitely died by drowning, and then 1 died by the injuries inflicted.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So there was no blood around the scene, which was very interesting because a lot of and it could have been wiped away in the river, but at the same time, like they put luminol, which I talked about in one of our first episodes. I was like, everybody knows luminol.
We all know luminol.
Yeah.
And we were both like, we don't know that.
Right.
We don't know luminol.
But now we do.
Now we
But
do.
now we do.
Thank God for that.
So there wasn't a ton of blood around there. There was like a little bit of blood along a trail, but because the injuries were so severe, like it doesn't really add up. So then people were theorizing that they were killed in a separate location and brought there.
Okay.
So interesting. So right away, because of the nature of the town, because of the nature of the crime scene, a lot of these details got leaked. And police, like not even just the public, like the police were pushing this agenda. They were like, it's satanic rituals, 100%. We're not entertaining any other theories whatsoever. Like that's 100% what it is. It's a cult behavior in the area. There was like this one guy named Jerry Driver, he's like in the documentaries a lot. and he was this juvenile probation officer, and he was fucking obsessed with like hunting down teenagers, like goth teenagers, and being like they're worshiping the devil, and they're like, we're going to class.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to Hot Topic. I don't know.
So what is it about this, other than the fact that it's a craze that makes people so sure it's satanic rituals?
Yeah, were there like runes or like with like
the
twigs arranged?
We talked about
No.
the missing penis, but other than that,
I mean, obviously it's horrific. It's 3 young boys. They're tied up. The missing penis. So they thought that they just jumped to this
That's gotta
conclusion
be
like
it.
immediately.
Gotta be witch.
Yeah, and pretty much like really sunk their teeth into it, like big time. So
Well, I mean, these small town police, when something like this happens, like they have to say something.
exactly.
Because otherwise, people are like, well, you're not doing anything. So like, it's the devil.
Right.
We know the devil
And people
did
are
it.
like, oh, we know that guy.
Oh yeah, that guy's bad. Good catch. Good
That guy
catch, Gary.
sucks. Yeah. And they were particularly obsessed with this one teenager in town, this guy, Damien Echols. And he was super goth. He had like long black hair, sort of like an outsider in the town. And so a lot of the belief was that he was like part of this satanic cult in the area that didn't really exist. He was sort of into like Wiccan and that kind of thing, but like teenagers do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who among us
Who among us?
didn't just kind of do a
Dabble.
little ritual?
Yeah.
You know? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. You know.
Wiccan is it's like
No,
Satanism.
it's the witchcraft religion.
Witchcraft. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
the witchcraft
okay.
religion. But like they'll tell you, Wiccans, it's all about the earth. They're actually very good. I reveal slowly that I'm actually a witch. But
So anyway, this guy driver, he had interacted a little bit with Damien Echols, and he was convinced that he was involved in this like satanic cult. Echols denied any connection with Satanism, and he was like, I believe in practicing magic. Spoiler alert, now he is a magician. He lives in Harlem.
Practicing magic.
Hire
like,
him for your birthday
Yeah,
parties.
But he means practicing magic as in like showmanship.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Oh, okay.
those are illusions.
Well, everyone,
Right, illusion.
everyone believes in practicing. Everyone believes magicians exist.
Yeah, because it's notably fake.
Right,
Oh,
well,
but he's saying it's like my magic is real.
Well,
I think he's just saying like, I believe in magic. I don't know. He's like a kid.
He's a kid.
He's like
okay,
17 years old.
That's true. I fully do believe in magic, so
Oh yeah, certain tricks.
illusions.
Illusions. Okay, so a neighbor, this woman named Narlene Hollingsworth, claimed that she saw Damien walking on the edge of the woods with another boy the same age. With another boy of his same age with muddied pants. Uh-oh. So she's like, he obviously went in there and killed them and then was on the outside of the woods with muddied pants. Damien's mom was like, he was at home with me all night.
Right.
But there's no one else to corroborate that story. Mm-hmm. So they're like, obviously your mom would lie for you. So they're just going, it's every part of evidence in this case, everything is just eyewitness, hearsay.
And then there's
He
always
said,
these
she
fuckers
said.
that want to be involved, and it's like the old lady next door that's like, I saw him I literally saw him do it. And she just wants to be
Right.
part of it.
Right.
Oh,
That's all she
Get
has.
ready.
Yeah, I'm
Get
sure.
ready.
Yeah.
So he had a troubled past, so he spent a little bit of time in a psychiatric hospital in Little Rock where he received treatment for major depression. He was transferred to the hospital after incidents at a detention center that includes sucking blood from the wound of another detainee and threatening to kill his father.
This is before or after?
Before.
Okay.
So the police knew about him. And they were like, this is someone who's capable of doing this. That was like their direct quote. Like, we can't prove it, but he's capable of it. So,
This is the magician.
yeah.
I think he's just a warlock at this point. He hasn't become just a
He's a
regular
wizard.
Yeah. I mean, sucking blood, that's weird. That's weird.
It's
That's
fucking
admittedly, I'll tell you something, that's weird. Goth kids are a little creepy.
I mean, he was definitely weird. And like, if you see footage of him at that time and he was like on trial, just like giving people the finger and stuff, like he was a little shit.
Yeah.
Guilty though, I don't think so.
Okay.
Which we'll get into. But anyway, so he had a really shitty life. He lived in poverty, like beyond belief. His parents divorced early on, and his mom remarried to this guy named Jack Echols. And Jack forced the family to go to a church called the Church of God, which was like the type of place that people would go in and like speak tongues and like throw olive oil on you or
Snakes.
whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Snakes.
Yeah, if you're speaking in tongue, like start speaking in tongues, and like they all start holding snakes, and if you get bit, it's because you got sin.
What?
That's like there's literally a scene in the campaign with Will Ferrell who gets bit by a snake.
Oh, I don't know about this.
There's also a Borat thing, right?
Yeah, I think there's a Borat thing as well. Yeah.
Church of God, pretty general.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like the
right.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music band.
Yeah, so I just felt bad. You just feel so bad for him when you hear about the things. He also had habits of dressing in black and listening to heavy metal music.
Okay,
God
but he's a
forbid.
teen.
I know. He also wore dark clothes and made expressive poems, and he also listened to Metallica. So he's obviously murdering people.
Yeah.
Poetry.
Yeah.
You know that time.
Poetry, yeah.
Walt Whitman.
Bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
He's literally guilty of being a weird goth kid.
Yeah.
Okay, so suspect number 2. I'm going to go over the 3 suspects, and then I'm going to tell you guys how they all got wrapped up into this whole thing.
Right.
Suspect number 2 is a kid named Jason Baldwin. He was friends with Echols, and both of them were social outcasts, as discussed. Baldwin actually did pretty well in school. He was pretty smart, and he didn't really join in with Echols' experimentation with magic and Wiccan, but they had a lot in common. They like really bonded together, and they considered each other brothers, which is really cute. Like, because they were both like extremely poor, and so if like one of them had money, they both had money.
Max's
I'm
reaction
sorry for
to
saying.
that.
Ugh.
But
That's on me.
anyway,
that's on
they
me,
were
that
very
reaction.
close. And I'll get into it later, but basically Jason is guilty of being friends with Damien.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's really fucking shitty.
And that's it. That's.
Nope. The third and final
Oh no, I'm
suspect-
saying that's all.
Oh, yeah.
That's all Baldwin is. Okay. Yeah.
So the third and final suspect, Jesse Miskelly Jr., had little connection to Echols or Baldwin. He babysat for Vicky Hutchinson, a woman who volunteered to help the police investigate. So Hutchinson began to ask Miss Kelly about the case, and he agreed to introduce her to Echols. They were like schoolmates or something. So, and because at the point that she was asking him to introduce her to Echols, he was already like a well-known suspect. The police had already been talking to him, and everybody in the town was just like, "Yep, the weird kid did it." Obviously,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah. Yeah. So it should be mentioned also that Jesse Miskelly has an IQ of 67. So that's like not really considered functioning.
Yeah.
Is that also part of the reason why they suspected him? That like,
No, they never really suspected him. They used him as a pawn to get Damien and Jason. in
Okay.
jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No.
I'm just glad that in the year 2022 that no longer does people just say anything and then people on the internet just assume it's true. Like I'm just glad that's not true anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Where people don't just like say one thing and then everybody bands against that one person without actually corroborating anything that they
I
say.
know. Well, you know what's so crazy? Like,
Just makes me feel thankful
oh yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, the Paradise Lost documentary, the people that were making that documentary were like, we thought we were going to go down there and like make a documentary about a satanic cult that killed these kids because that's all the newspapers were reporting. Like we thought that it went off without a hitch, and then they uncovered everything and they're like, wait, these people are like obviously wrongfully convicted, and then it became like this whole other thing that they didn't see coming, and then now, spoiler alert, they're out of jail, which is like,
gotta watch this doc.
oh my god, it's crazy.
Gotta watch that doc.
Gotta watch
that doc.
Gotta watch that doc.
So basically they barely know this guy Jesse.
Right.
He's like loosely friends with them. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about that Vicky Hutchinson lady. So that's who Jesse babysits for.
Jesse, this one who doesn't have a functioning mind.
Yeah,
Babysits for
that's
her.
what I'm thinking. That's so funny. He had a reading level of 3rd grade. So hopefully he's not teaching her kids how to
Blind
read.
leading the blind. Let me tell you that.
know.
Jesus.
Who has that funny bit? I think Mulaney maybe, about how when he was 11, his mom gave him a 13-year-old babysitter.
Oh God.
That's
It
so
might have
funny.
been Mulaney.
I think
Yeah.
it's
That sounds like a
Mulaney.
Mulaney.
Yeah. Okay, so Vicky Hutchinson, on May 6th, 1993, before the victims were found later that same day, Hutchinson took a polygraph test exam. They were like huge on polygraph test exams back then too, which is now...
Which are also known to not really be good. to
Exactly. They're not permissible in court now.
you. Yeah.
By Detective Dawn Bray at the Marion Police Department to determine whether or not she had stolen money from her West Memphis employer.
What?
I know. What the fuck? Like, that's such a weird thing to take a polygraph test for. But anyway, so she had skin in the game to help the police is what this whole thing, whole setup is about.
To clear her name.
Yeah. So Hutchinson's young son, Aaron, was also present during the polygraph test and proved such a distraction that Bray was unable to administer the polygraph. Aaron, who was a playmate of the murdered boys, so he's an 8-year-old boy, mentioned that the boys had been killed at the, quote, playhouse. When the bodies proved to have been discovered near where Aaron indicated, Bray asked Aaron for further details. And Aaron claimed that he had witnessed the murders committed by Satanists who spoke Spanish.
But Aaron's an 8-year-old.
Exactly. And the police are like, great, who were they? And like,
Vicky.
so Aaron's further statements were wildly inconsistent, obviously, because he's 8 years old.
Yeah.
There was like a bunch of crazy stuff that he said. He said at one point that he was held at gunpoint by a black man in the woods, and he actually dismembered the boys and like all this. And so the cops
Is
were
Aaron
like,
saying that he was hanging out with the other boys?
Like he was
or-
there
he's saying
during
that
this?
he was just there during
He was just
this.
there. Okay.
And just like just casually racist about it.
Yes, exactly.
They were speaking Spanish. One was black.
Yes, literally. I'm like, what did his parents talk about at home? Oh my god,
Nothing good. Let me tell you
Nothing
that.
good. So he was like, basically, he was saying, he was like, it was definitely Echols, it was definitely that Baldwin kid, it was definitely Miss Kelly, because the police were feeding him this, obviously. And then they showed him a photo lineup, and he was like, pointed to like everyone who wasn't them.
Ah, good.
And the police were like, this is basically a confession.
Yeah.
This
We got him.
We got him.
We got him. Call the press.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So June 1st, on or near June 1st, 1993, Hutchinson agreed to police suggestions to place hidden microphones in her home during an encounter with Echols. Miss Kelly agreed to introduce, so her babysitter, agreed to introduce Hutchinson to Echols during their conversation. Hutchinson reported that Echols made no incriminating statements. So basically, let's see what else. She also, so then later on, the police were like, you need to have Damien take you to a Wiccan meeting. And then, so she claimed that Miss Kelly, Echols, and Baldwin attended a Wiccan meeting. This, like, what's it called? In a Scot or something? Whatever. You would know. Yeah.
That's just the name of their meeting.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
it's supposed to be like a satanic meeting. There's like a certain name for it.
Yes, a mascot.
It's cool.
Oh, it's a mascot. Oh, mascot. You didn't say it right. Sorry.
So she claims that they went to this Wiccan meeting, and a drunken Echols openly bragged about killing the 3 boys. And Miss Kelly was first questioned a day after Hutchinson's purported confession. Hutchinson was unable to recall the Wiccan meeting location and didn't name any of the other participants at the meeting. So she claims like this whole tall tale that they went out to this crazy meeting. There was people wearing black and like sacrificing animals and all this shit.
Was anybody speaking Spanish?
Later on, so this is years later after they're exonerated. This is in like 2013. Actually, no, 2010. She claims, she's like, the police made me make up that story. It was completely fabricated. It had nothing. I just completely made the entire thing up. The day in question that she supposedly did all this, she drank an entire bottle of whiskey because her boyfriend had broken up with her. And she was like, I did see some people somewhere, maybe. And
Similar.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
then she goes, and then the next morning she woke up on her lawn with a second bottle of Jack Daniels, like halfway through. So super reliable day.
Right. This is the day that she was supposedly went to this ceremony.
Yeah.
But this revelation that she made it up didn't come till years later.
Yeah.
Okay, well then everybody's a piece of shit in this
Everyone's
story.
a piece of shit. This town sounds like fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's like
Even worse, Arkansas.
Oh, disaster.
I've never been.
Really?
Why is that surprise?
Have you been? Oh my god.
He strikes me as an Arkansas type.
College football guy.
He's a big guy.
Okay, so May 7th, they start bringing in Damien and Jason Echols for questioning. They take no notes. There's no record of any of these interviews because these police are big time. Okay,
Yeah.
they're good. They are good. They keep getting brought in for interviewing. What's wicked fucking sad is that so Damien's mom was like, we need a lawyer because I don't know what's going on, but they're trying to peg this on you.
Yeah.
And you're innocent. So like, let's just get a lawyer and everything's gonna be fine. And they're dirt poor. So his grandmother pawned her engagement ring. And because the police were so corrupt, he showed up to one of the investigations or the interviews, and they wouldn't allow his lawyer in the room. So basically she gave her engagement ring for nothing.
Oh, I see.
Because that's
the
all
lawyer wasn't allowed in because he wouldn't be allowed in no matter what.
No, he would always be allowed in.
Lawyer's
Always,
supposed to be
no matter
always.
what. The police wouldn't allow him in.
Sorry, I've never
Yeah,
been accused of
lawyers
crime.
always be allowed in the room. That's the whole point.
So, then maybe I misunderstood. So
So-
the ring, why was the ring then not used?
Because she had paid for a retainer for this lawyer. He shows up with a lawyer to the interview, and the police are like, lawyer can't come in.
Oh, okay, I did
And shut the
understand.
lawyer
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
And it was basically like, if you want to talk to us with a lawyer, that seems fishy, like blah, blah, blah.
What?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
It makes no fucking sense. And then that was all she could afford. And then during his actual murder trials, he just had like a state appointed public defender.
Grandma was only married once.
Selfish.
Yeah, selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep bringing these boys in to
What about the
questioning.
families of these victims? They're not involved at all?
Oh, we'll get into that.
There we go.
We'll get into that. But obviously, rightfully so. They're extremely vocal.
They're a little
and
upset, huh?
They're a little upset.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, they're not happy about it.
And are they accusing this guy? Are they
yeah.
accusing these guys? Okay.
Heavily. Which I think some of them had their reasons to be pointing the finger at someone else.
Oh, do you think that there was an inside job? Well, I was a little struck that the first guy called a missing person within like minutes.
Right, within like hours.
Yeah.
It's like a
That
little
was
boy
weird.
who's been gone for 2 hours.
That's weird, especially in
Yeah.
a town where like doesn't sound like a lot of good parenting's happening.
No, definitely not.
But
I think it's possible if like he was supposed to be home for something.
that's true.
Yeah, but I think
Whose side are you on? I'm kidding.
I think you're
Coming,
really
coming from parents who would call if I was 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
I would.
He looks high. Is he high?
okay. So they keep pushing them and pushing them. They're not really getting anywhere. They do have them take a polygraph
I'm
test.
sorry. Why is Miss Kelly or whatever part of this now?
Because I'll tell you why. So, June 3rd, 1993, Jesse confesses falsely, and he implicates Damien, Jesse, and Jason. So there's like the most egregious line of questioning you've ever heard in your life. Police are basically like, when you went to
Kill these boys.
where was it? And Jesse's like, I wasn't there. And then like hours later, they like fix his story. And he's like, and then he says at one point, he's like, they were like, oh, what were they tied in? And he was like, a brown rope, and they were shoelaces. And they were like, no, it was the shoelaces. He's like, right, the shoelaces. And you have to remember, this kid is not functioning.
Yeah.
And-
Did you not?
Great
not,
babysitter.
not.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, didn't you not kill him?
It just goes on for like. Was that an even amount of knots?
Yeah, it was the whole thing was a
so
fucking
sad.
disaster.
And it
This is
happens,
awful.
This shit happens so often.
It feels like it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so many documentaries like that, Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
This one.
And that's just the ones where it's like, like a murder case. Like imagine how often they're just like doing this to people and like other things, like nonviolent shit. too.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Release everyone arrested for marijuana charges.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So yeah, there's like at certain points where they're like, oh yeah, they're like, he's like totally fit to be interviewed in this fashion. He's not that slow or whatever. And then at certain points they'll be like, do you know what a penis is? They literally asked him that. He was 17
How do you
years
know
old.
all this?
Because I have the transcript.
She goes, because I was there.
Because I was there. But yeah, I have the transcript.
So they did transcribe this. Aren't they implicating themselves if they're transcribing it?
I mean, the police are fucked now.
Did those people, what happened to these police? Am I jumping ahead? I'm sorry.
The police ended up having great careers and retiring, which is why now there's new stuff coming out
About the police?
about the case that they were hiding.
Oh, because like new cops came
Yeah.
in and were like, well, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
Oh, well, good for those new cops.
I know. I think, I don't know. We'll see. So
I love how you keep just titillating. You're just you're like, we'll see. Stay tuned.
I also do want to say your research on this is way better than mine on Epstein's.
Yeah, just
You have an answer
Oh.
for everything.
I also find
I'm
it really
trying.
funny that we went from the last episode where she did the one BuzzFeed listicle
I had to make up for
with
myself.
paragraphs on each thing, and now look at it's like you were there.
It's like I was there. 'Cause
It's
I
like she was there.
I was 3 years old and I was there. That's the
Yeah.
tale I'm going to tell the police. They're going to take it very seriously and convict a bunch of people based on my testimony.
Well, you were.
I was in Massachusetts
Yes.
at 3 years old, and I
You
went
were
down there.
spawned there from the satanic ritual.
Right.
They summoned you,
That makes sense.
and you high-fived everyone at home. Pretty clear.
Pretty clear.
What's going on with you, huh?
Just my back that I'm just like really nervous that I'm going to make. I have a back injury. I have a back injury. And
He's got a back injury.
You got that back injury because you were what? Walking through mud, maybe in the forest.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe.
the real story is
If you're listening, May was giving him a look like, we know you did it.
the real story is more embarrassing. I would rather
What is
admit
the
to
real
murder.
Tell the real story. Tell her the real story. It's a good
The real story is that I did do like a workout that involved some jumping kind of thing. So I assume that that's what actually did it. But what made it like actually go out was I was putting on my underwear and I reached down to put one leg in and just snap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben
and
has
the workout.
aged 60
Yeah, he's aged.
years.
The workout
Since
was
Careful with these
from Curves video on demand service. Curves, which is the overweight women service.
Weight Watchers workouts are hard. They're really hard.
Well, you should have seen him jumping up off the croissants that he was eating.
It was actually a Jane Fonda video from 1983.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. All right, back to the Grizzly murders.
Back to the Grizzly murders. So
and terrible police
terrible
cover-ups.
police, all that stuff. So June 3rd, 1993, authorities issue a warrant to go into all their houses. They find hilarious evidence, in my opinion. They have a like Wiccan book from Damien. They're like, this is evidence that he murdered children. It's just like sad
Sounds good
poems he
to
wrote.
me. Yeah.
Crazy.
There is a Metallica t-shirt that they take into evidence.
That's one of the exhibits. Metallica.
They put it into an evidence bag. It didn't have blood on it, nothing like that. It was just simply a Metallica t-shirt.
Metallica's not even that like
No, it's
Hardcore.
not
Yeah.
like
Ben starts like, they're fucking mainstream. What are you talking about? They're not even that
they're not
hardcore.
even moshing to Slipknot.
They're not even
you know?
real screamo.
Metallica's basically the Beach Boys.
Imagine Ben, Bizarro Ben, and
Moshing, just fucking just hitting people in the face. No, I
that's
can't
weird.
imagine that.
that's funny.
Gotta let it out.
So this fucking guy, Gitchell, Gary Gitchell, the lead investigator, he holds a press conference.
I still find it hilarious that this small, poor town, not even that small, whatever, this poor town has a chief inspector.
I know.
This Gary.
I know.
Chief inspector. There probably is a lot of
I
crime
mean,
in this
it
place,
seems
though.
really freaking stupid. So
Yeah, chief idiot.
chief idiot.
Go ahead. Coin it. I just put on the screen.
Coin.
Chief idiot.
Got a lot of effects. On this one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. So
No. I think just saying it.
just saying it
Yeah.
doesn't check.
They get it.
Yeah, they get it.
So the press asks him, how confident do you feel that you have the right people? And he goes, on a scale of 1 to 10, 11.
Oh,
that was like-
Gary.
It was like quoted a bunch, and then when
And
they got
that's
out,
where we got that phrase. Do we get that catchphrase?
That's actually where they invented the scale from 1 to 10. It's actually really.
And then saying 11.
And then the reporter's like, "Wait, is 1 the confident or a 10?" Yeah, where are we?
Sorry, you were saying?
I was saying
11. Oof.
Oh,
Oh,
Gary.
I know, fucking cocky bastard. So let's see. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Sorry, you guys talk
you
amongst
twitched a bit.
yourselves.
I would never be an 11 on anything. Like that confident in something.
on anything in your whole life?
I don't. No, you know what I mean. Like who has the gall to say like, "Oh, an
I'm 11 confident. I'll say it sometimes when someone's like,
I feel like you say it all the time.
I do not.
I feel like you're the kind of guy where
On a
it's just
scale of
like-
1 to 10, I'm an 11. That I don't say it a lot. Let me tell you that.
All right, so
Let me tell you something. In Gary's defense, it wins arguments. It works.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit because most of the notes about the trial itself is like, you know, we could be here all day. It's basically
Right.
like they
You're
fucked up left and right. The
Right.
whole thing was completely ridiculous. They called people to the stand that were like, Echols was weird. Like he was in my math class and
Any
he
anything
drew
else
a
to say?
pentagon. Like literally. And then there was all these rumors. They were like, his hair isn't even black. And he went into prison. He was like, it's black.
That's insane.
That
Okay.
sucks, bro.
It really sucks.
Is this national attention now at this point?
I think it was a little bit, but it was one of those things that it's 1993. You read one headline, you go, oh, that's crazy. Glad they got those fucking assholes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
know, like none of this information was out. So everybody, like if my parents read about it, they would be like, wow, that's crazy. These 3 teenagers murdered these boys.
Yeah, that's tough.
Period. End of story. Like,
Yeah.
so.
We know it. Yeah.
So the cops are not helping things. The media is not helping anything, and everybody in the town is not helping anything.
Correct.
Is anybody interested in truth anymore in this
No.
country?
Wow,
I
look
just
at this
anybody. God bless America.
Isn't that Trump's social media thing? Truth.net or something?
He couldn't even afford .com. It's .net.
.gov.
Just, and if you have any questions, hit me up at trump@aol.com.
So actually, so they have basically no evidence. They have Hutchinson's bullshit account of the occult activity, which has nothing to tying them whatsoever to the actual murders.
Right. It doesn't help that these kids probably don't have parents that are that engaged. It sounded like Damien had
Right.
his mom at least
His
cared.
mom was. He describes her in his book as she loved me how she knew how. He says, like, she's the type of mother who would be like helping you with your cough, but like chain smoking while she was helping you, like while you had a cough, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just that kind of person.
Well, she doesn't recognize you.
That's fascinating.
That is. That's science.
He's a poet.
Ah.
Listen, guys.
How
good.
is this book? Bestseller?
Yes,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe we read that book.
it's a
Yeah.
pretty good book.
Did you read it?
Part of it.
Couldn't get through it.
It was a great book. I couldn't get through it.
Oh, that's funny.
So they go to jail. Or am I jumping way ahead? Sorry.
Oh yeah. They go to jail
Oh,
Big
they go to jail. That sucks.
for 18 years.
No.
God.
All
Yup.
3 of them.
Um,
I feel bad for that for the other 2.
I know.
They had nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Especially, I mean, like, James. Okay, they were best friends, I guess. Like, he still didn't have anything to do with it. But that third kid was just a level idiot.
I know. You know. Well,
what did Damien have to do with anything?
nothing. Literally
Yeah,
nothing.
why? Yeah.
I mean,
all
he certainly didn't have anything either. He was just guilty of being the town weirdo.
Yeah, pretty much.
There were no. What was there even a satanic cult? Was there even
No, I mean, there's no evidence of
Was
that.
there even like a Wiccan club in this fucking town?
Probably not.
Wicked club.
Yeah, like at the high school or anything.
Kind of sounds fun, honestly.
Here's the thing: is in the '90s, like they had clubs and shit, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Wiccan clubs or just clubs in
I don't
general?
know. Like
Probably
Wiccan was like
Wiccan
a
clubs,
thing.
yeah.
I don't know. You ever seen that movie, The Craft?
Yeah.
Good film.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
Wait, what does that have to do with anything? Oh, witch stuff.
I just think it's a good movie.
You ever see Shrek 2?
Oh, now that's a film.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Now that's a
soundtrack.
film. One of the other pieces of evidence that I didn't talk about is that they also brought in these softball girls that they said they overheard Jason and Damien talking about the murders at a softball game. And it's like, I'm sure they were talking about the murders. They were getting questioned.
Yeah.
And it's like the fucking talk of the town. Like,
The most egregious thing that they went to a softball.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I didn't find them that weird until now.
Yeah. Now I'm like, maybe they did it.
yeah, who watches that
Why are
crap?
you watching stuff?
Softball.
that
Maybe they were smoking cigarettes under the bleachers.
Making fun of it, like ironically watching softball.
Yeah.
That's because that's cool.
That actually
That's
is
cool. And I'm back.
That's
They're
fun.
innocent now.
Yeah, yeah. They're just
While
being
they're
hilarious.
blasting Enter Sandman.
But yeah, speaking about like the 2 lovable or the 2 like people that had nothing to do with anything. Well, they all 3 had nothing to do with anything, but the guy who got conned into confessing to something that had nothing to do with anything and bringing 2 other people into it. Damien Echols has since been interviewed a million times. They're like, were you ever like just unbelievably angry at him? And he was like, he said multiple times on record, he's like, I was never angry at him. I knew that he was being manipulated because, you know, he reads at a 3rd grade level. And he was like, I feel no anger towards him, which is crazy to
That's
say.
really sweet.
Yeah.
I know.
It sounds like though Eccles, if he was like flipping people off and like still maintained being a weirdo, like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're a teenager, but like you'd think like maybe like get a haircut to kind of take the heat off you.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
I know.
Yeah, maybe don't lean in so hard to the Wiccan shit.
Yeah.
I guess like, you're like, it's like whatever, it's not a phase, it's who I am.
Right.
But like, well, they're gonna send you to jail.
He's a Buddhist now.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
hardcore.
That is
Buddhist.
hardcore.
Long hair or bald?
Bald.
Get out.
Yeah, he's married.
Wow.
Yeah. Met his wife in prison.
No.
Yes.
What? Like she was like sending them letters?
Yeah. I know.
I have no comment on that.
Oh, she was sending him letters while she wasn't an inmate.
No.
Were they like super popular? These guys?
They were after the film, after Paradise Lost, because everybody was like, these people are innocent.
Were they still in jail?
Yeah. So that started the whole movement to get them out. But let's talk first about their sentences because they're insane.
Okay.
So they were all found guilty of capital murder in the deaths of all 3 children.
No death penalty in Arkansas?
Yes, there is. So,
You dumb.
Damien was sentenced to death.
I don't know why I said that. You got it right.
I just love a good you dumb fuck. It's just good.
All right, so Damien was sentenced to death.
Aye.
Jason to life in prison, plus 2 life sentences, I think. So 3, basically. And what was the other one? The other one was life in prison, but I forget the exact phrasing of it. Whatever. They're all in prison for the rest of their lives is the important thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about getting out. So this is probably like one of the first cases that I know about, at least, that there was a documentary that started a movement because people were like, wait a minute. And now they must be like, thank God these people wanted to make a documentary about this.
Yeah.
Because then it like got the ball moving.
It's not even why they wanted to make the documentary.
No.
That's wild.
Exactly. So 1996, HBO airs Paradise Lost, the child murders at Robin Hood Hills. The film, which had a soundtrack by Metallica, apropos,
Badass.
depicted West Memphis as a hellhole.
Lame.
Mainstream.
May as well made it by Beethoven.
That'd be kind of. Beethoven went hard. Let me tell you.
Beethoven's great.
Oh,
Beethoven went hard. Go ahead.
They described West Memphis as a hellhole with residents blinded by fantasies of satanic cults and jurors unable to sort facts out rationally. I would agree with all of those things.
It does not seem like anybody here is very well educated.
No.
Nobody really around.
No, you should see this documentary. It's beyond.
It's really upsetting.
It's really, really upsetting. So the film spawned a movement, and soon a website dedicated to gaining the release of the West Memphis 3, WM3.org, was established. The film also led to a marriage. Lori Davis, a landscape architect, began communicating with Damien Echols, and they married, as we just said.
So sweet.
Also,
I
in terms
know.
of being pioneering, probably one of the first where the internet played a role.
Exactly.
Right? Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got mailed each other.
Oh, yeah. So
That's what the movie is based
Same plot of the movie. Tom Hanks with long black hair.
yeah, so there was a bunch of other movies that came out. Vicky Hutchinson recanted her statement, was like, I literally just lied
Oof.
about everything. She reported that she felt compelled to cooperate with police out of fear, that if she didn't, the police would take her son away. So
feels
that's
valid.
probably also why the son was going hard too. Like, we'll say whatever you need us to say. Yeah, I saw the murders. I was in the murders. Like, there was a guy with a gun and he was black.
But
And
why race?
like,
But why does race have to be part of it?
I don't know.
They were Spanish. What do you want? Asian? I don't know. Whatever you guys want me to say.
What gets you going? They were speaking Spanish.
Yo, who do you hate the most? I'll say it.
So another bombshell fell in 2007 after DNA found at the crime scene was retested, and none was found to match the DNA of Echols, Baldwin, or Miss Kelly. So none of them matches DNA.
Right.
A hair found in a knot used to tie up one of the victims is, however, found to be not inconsistent with Terry Hobbs, who was the stepfather to Stevie Branch. So his DNA is found. with
Who's
the
Stevie
boys.
Branch?
One of the kids.
One of the kids that died. So on the basis of the new evidence, John Mark Byers told reporters how he believed the 3 men convicted were innocent. So John Mark Byers is the father of one of the other murdered children.
And he always got like a bad vibe from the
Yeah,
other guy?
and he was like, that other dude did it. But
Wow.
I think he might have done it too.
No.
Oh my God.
Together?
Separately.
What?
We'll get into it. Not separately. It's either one or the other.
Did they
Oh,
That's what I
find
think.
one of them did it.
Did they find Metallica records in any of these?
Did anybody have the tease?
So this is so fucking frustrating. All this new DNA evidence failed to convince the judge that a new trial for any of the West Memphis three was justified. But the attorneys for all three appealed Burnett's decision to the Arkansas Supreme Court.
If they had attorneys at all, shouldn't any judge look at it and be like, this case is not legitimate?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the judge was getting paid off. Like,
I'll
who
say
fucking
something a little
knows?
crazy here. American justice system, maybe not perfect.
Oh, you're nuts. I don't know where
You
you think
shut the hell.
it's the greatest country on earth.
God bless.
Okay. So finally, 3 years after that DNA evidence more or less exonerates them from the crime scene.
Right.
November 4th, 2010, the defendants received the first good news in the cases, in their cases that they had been heard, or blah, 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 that had been heard from court anywhere.
Right.
The Arkansas Supreme Court announced an opinion ordering the trial court to reconsider whether newly discovered DNA evidence would exonerate them, basically.
So this is
they're
still like
scrambling.
this is still like 14 years after that documentary. So the documentary did something, but it still took
forever.
Yeah.
So basically, in August 2012, the defense wanted them to all file for an Alford plea, which is a really unique maneuver where basically
I'm familiar. You don't have to explain it for me, but explain it for Ben.
I honestly don't even fucking get it, but basically you plead guilty.
Yeah, Max,
but-
why don't you do it?
No, May. This is May's episode. Don't steal her thunder. Go ahead.
You are considering that.
But you plead guilty and maintain your innocence. But so you can get out because you're innocent, but you're still guilty.
Seems like it's a trick.
I
The
really don't
law's
understand
weird,
it.
man.
But
Yeah.
people do this sometimes. Like, are you guys familiar with the staircase? You know about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That
So-
was the nuns, right?
No.
No, that's the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The staircase was. It's like,
Wait,
did he or
bird?
didn't he?
Owl?
An owl.
Oh, push
yeah.
his wife down the
Push
stairs.
and he did an Alford plea where he's like, I'm pleading guilty, but I'm innocent, and he.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know.
Is it just pleading guilty while winking?
Yeah.
See?
I really don't fucking get it. So it was basically established like sometime in the 50s or whatever, where some guy.
Pleading guilty on opposite day.
Yeah. Pleading guilty, not.
It's an Alfred plea, classic Alfred
It's a
plea.
vintage Alfred plea.
But yeah, like some guy was like going to be convicted based on the evidence in some case, but he didn't do it. So it was like this specific legal maneuver is based off of that case.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Whatever. So anyway, the prosecutor wanted, the deal was that all three of them had to take the deal or there would be no deal.
Right. Deal or no deal.
Yeah.
Their lawyer is Howie Mandel.
Probably right around the time the show came out.
So
Just making connections. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing shit at the wall.
Good.
So Damien and Jason are like on the edge of their fucking seat
Right.
because they're like, what if Jesse doesn't take the deal?
Oh, because this is the one that can't really think that
He
good.
can't really think that well. And
He can't think that good.
I go, can't think that well.
You dumb fuck.
You dumb fuck.
Sorry.
So they're freaking out. Damien writes in his book, he goes, I paced back and forth in my prison cell, 2 steps to the door and 2 steps back, over and over. I paced all hours, all day and all night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't read. I couldn't sit still. I wept. I cursed. I raged. He's like, to say I was in pain is beyond articulation.
This is the whole time, or when he was specifically waiting to find out this
Specifically for that decision.
guy? Were
but
they in the same prison?
I actually don't think so.
Because that would have been nice, at least if Damien and his guy got to hang out.
I know. No. And actually, Damien spent a lot of the time getting beat up by guards and stuff.
Fuck.
And I know. He really had a shit time.
L
just
after L.
Yeah, right. And he would get put in
Solitary?
solitary a lot. And he was in there so much that he's kind of lost his long sight,
Oh my God.
long distance vision. Because
Wow.
if
It's so dark.
if your eyes are trained to only see 6 feet ahead of you, like your eyes are constantly training to see that far.
Right.
So he's kind of like partially blind now because of
Jesus.
his time spent in prison.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Are they still friends at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into where they are now. They all got out. Everybody signed the Alford plea.
Oh, thank God.
They're all good. So I'm going to get into where they are now, and then I'm going to finally wrap up. How long has it been?
Oh, not that bad. Like 50 minutes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
great.
And then I'll get into some other suspects. Come on.
No, it's not a lot.
No,
This is
no.
not a double. We were thinking it
This
would
is
be
not
a
a
double,
double.
but it
This
might
is-
be a single.
this
I
is a
skipped
more
over
Murray.
a bunch of stuff that people are probably going to be like, how'd you leave that out? Because I got things to do. Okay, so... all right, where are they now? We kind of already went over this. He actually, after he moved out of prison and into New York, he actually lived in Peter Jackson's apartment for a little while. And Peter Jackson is one of the documentary filmmakers. So he like took
He
Damien
lived in the Shire?
But Peter Jackson does live in New Zealand. I
Does
know
he?
that from a recent
Oh.
interview. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Good. He must have a house in New York, I guess.
New
because he
Zealand
was-
is
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah,
yeah.
You have to go. You have to
I
go.
have heard lovely things about New Zealand.
You would love it.
But how weird is this? It's like, Damien, we're still on this. After that, he moved to Salem, Massachusetts for a little while. It's like,
No.
come on, man.
Ooh.
I mean, he's probably a celeb there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, king.
Oh, yeah. Celeb sighting. That'd
Yeah.
be fun on Halloween. I'd be like, oh, my
My
God. It's
God.
Damien Echols.
This guy fucking did.
He's got real black hair.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Holy shit. And then he came to his senses and moved back to Harlem.
Right.
Okay.
So that's where he resides right now. Dream guest, if you want to come on. It'd be fun. In 2012, he published a book, Life After Death, which became a New York Times bestseller. And
Good for him.
What a hell of a title. Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
That's
really
great
good title.
Really good title. Jason Baldwin, his bestie, moved to Austin, Texas. He moved
With
to
Rogan.
Seattle for a little
He
while.
wanted to get into stand-up.
Right. No, he was in Seattle, then Rogan moved to Austin, so he followed him.
Yeah,
so that
okay,
he could be
yeah.
on Rogan, obviously. And he started a nonprofit called Proclaim Justice, which is an organization dedicated to overturning wrongful convictions.
Saint.
He
Did they get
says-
money? Hopefully.
No. Because
What?
of the Alford plea, they're not allowed to take any money from the state, so they can't sue the state.
Okay. Well, I'm upset.
Can you believe
This
that?
whole time I've been upset, but now I am upset.
Oh, when money gets
They
involved?
didn't. But they didn't get to see it. They didn't get to sue.
No.
To smithereens.
Nope.
I mean, I guess. Okay.
I think
they
that
got
they-
out of prison. Whatever.
Damien
I
has a
think that they
successful
will.
book.
Successful book.
I think that they will.
I hope he sent some schmackers over to Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Got to.
Yeah, you gotta.
Jason says that his organization.
Damien, unfortunate name for a satanic boy, for a potentially satanic boy.
Yeah.
Because?
Damien was the name of the boy in The Omen, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And also, he was born Michael or something like that, and he changed his name to Damien.
Ah, see, like Damien is like a devil name.
You think so?
I know he's leaning into it.
He
you know?
did lean into it, yeah.
But God forbid. But
I mean, everyone likes your shtick.
everyone likes a shtick. So
You were pretending to be Jewish for years.
Yeah, when clearly you're the one using the word shtick.
All right,
and
go ahead.
I couldn't find anything about Jesse Miskelly outside of he was jailed briefly after an arrest of a slew of traffic citations. So, not doing well. Not doing as well as the
You
other two,
can't
but
expect.
I don't think
I'm
he's
surprised that
functioning.
the other two are so leading healthy lives at
Yeah,
all.
Your life is taken away from you. I mean, it's just
that's
terrible.
it. Well, and plus, I'm just stewing especially if I didn't do it,
Yeah, anger.
I know.
Yeah.
and the whole world thinks you did do it.
I know.
and
That's
it's
the
not a
thing.
good crime to be wrongfully accused of.
No, it's like probably the worst crime I've ever heard of in my entire life.
Right.
And that's
that's-
one of the worst parts about. I mean, it is the worst part about it is that the person out there is still out there.
So they never actually.
They
there's
haven't
nobody,
caught anybody.
There's nobody been arrested for this that actually did it.
Yes.
So who is the main suspect? The stepfather?
We'll get into a few.
Okay.
So this is infuriating. Okay. So other possible suspects. Two guys named Chris Morgan and Brian Holland. So early on in the investigation, the police briefly regarded. I don't know what that is.
Good.
The police regarded two teenagers as suspects, Chris Morgan and Brian Holland, both with drug offense histories, had abruptly departed to California 4 days after the bodies were discovered. So Morgan was presumed to at least been casually familiar with all three of the murdered boys, having previously driven an ice cream truck route in their neighborhood.
Don't trust an ice cream truck driver.
No.
But we're still pretty loose
Right.
here,
Yeah.
no?
Exactly. So,
But I do agree. Do not trust an ice cream truck driver.
Ice cream truck driver at all.
So they were arrested in Oceanside, California in 1993, and Morgan and Holland took polygraph test administered by the California police. What is up with these polygraph
Yeah,
tests?
they love a polygraph.
Examiners reported that both men's charges indicated deception when they denied involvement in the murders.
Well, what are we doing here?
Exactly. And it's like that is like even more evidence that they had against the three people that went in jail.
But
They were
their
like, you know-
T-shirts were all like Dave Matthews Band.
Right.
It's like these guys couldn't have done it.
Morgan claimed a long history of drug and alcohol abuse along with blackouts and memory lapses. So he claimed that he might have killed the victims, but
Jesus.
quickly recanted this part of his statement.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's weird.
So we have no idea. That's it. That's all we got with them.
California police sent blood and urine samples from both of the teenagers to the police in West Memphis, but there was no indication that indicated them as suspects moving forward. So probably not them.
Okay. Maybe they saw the bodies or something and ran.
Maybe, but
And then they were nervous.
this is what's so frustrating too. It's like, okay, this guy kind of confessed a little, I might have, I don't know, bitch, I might have. And it's like,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, that's
One
even more
of his
credible.
excuses was I could have blacked out, could have done it. It's something that blackout me could have done. Yeah.
Right. Literally. We all do crazy shit when we're blacked out.
Yeah, listen, who among us? Well, you ever wake up?
They drive the ice cream truck to California?
Blacked out.
I don't know, probably blacked out. But that's just as strong of evidence as the Jesse Miss Kelly one.
Way stronger, I would
Yeah.
say.
'cause
It's
he-
stronger because of
Yeah.
that
They
one
didn't fail
comment.
their polygraphs ever.
No, I think they did. Or the police said that there was it was inconclusive. And it's it's just not giving you the result that you want.
Yeah, that's inconclusive. It's not
Exactly.
concluding what I want
Not
to
concluding
conclude.
what I want to do.
Yeah.
So there's another suspect, Mr. Bojangles, he's called in this article. So Bojangles is a fast food restaurant.
Okay, because I thought it was a local serial killer.
There's a famous song, Mr. Bojangles.
It
Knew
does
a
sound
man,
like a clown
Bojangles, and
serial
he
killer,
sang
doesn't
for
it?
you.
Yeah, it sounds like Candyman or something like
Yeah.
that, the Boogeyman.
So there was,
Mr. Bojangles.
Mr.
So-
Bojangle.
according to local West Memphis police officers, on the evening of May 5th, 1993, at 8, so the day of the murders, at 8:42 p.m., so it would have been the time of the murders, workers at the Bojangles restaurant, located about a mile from the crime scene, reported seeing a black male who seemed mentally disoriented. Inside the restaurant's ladies' room, the man was bleeding and had brushed against the restroom walls. Officer Regina Meeks responded to the call, talking to the restaurant's manager, taking the restaurant manager's report through the eatery's drive-through window. Why? Why don't you go in the fucking restaurant? By then, the man had left, and the police did not enter the restroom on that day. The next day, the manager walked in. There was blood all over the fucking bathroom. And they, as far as I can tell, never really looked into that.
Sounds good. Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah. So, also, a hair identified as belonging to a black male was later recovered on a sheet wrapped around one of the victims.
Nah. I really didn't want the racist to be correct.
I know.
So you think that Bojangles is the answer?
No, I don't.
I didn't say that. I know we have very similar deep voices, but
Do you?
I don't know, Mr. Bojangles. I can't conclusively say.
All right. Next one. John Marks Byers, the stepfather of Christopher Byers. So this dude has a rap sheet. That's basically, there wasn't so much tying him to it, but let's just go through this rap sheet.
Well,
That's
that seems to be the theme in general, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A stepfather makes a lot of sense for
It
this.
really does.
Stepfathers are not good people.
No, across the
I
board.
just say a terrible blanket statement.
Doesn't matter who-
Stepfathers are criminals.
Every single one of them. Without exception.
No.
So when he was a teenager, his parents called the police claiming that he was threatening them with a butcher knife. So that's the type of anger problems that this dude has.
Jesus.
So prior to the murders of the three boys, Mark Byers had criminal charges relating to the use of terroristic threats, grand theft, and drug use. One of the terroristic threats pertained to a domestic dispute between Mark and his first wife, Sandra Byers. In 1988, it was alleged that he was threatening her life and assaulting her with an electronic stun gun. Byers was 30 years old when he accumulated this charge, and when he was 35, this judge expunged it from his record. It's
That's nice of him.
Just a lot of bizarre stuff.
Yeah.
What's like they probably like drank together at the
It's the
local
same-
saloon.
It's the same judge.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
same
okay.
judge,
There's
Judge
judges in the
Burnett.
pocket. Ironically, the newest John Grisham that I'm reading is about corrupt judges.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that common. They're actually most judges are actually pretty good people.
Okay.
At least in fictional Florida in this book.
Yeah. So he's also arrested for selling cocaine, carrying a dangerous weapon. He had like a weird like Rolex, like a fake Rolex ring.
How was he never
doing.
even a suspect?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't they immediately talk to the families and think it was like one of them?
Right.
Because they're fucking idiots. And they're like, this is obviously cult related. None of these families are in cults, so case closed. They go to my church. Bye.
That's a really good impression.
Yeah. I thought so. Okay, so this guy, in 1997, Melissa Byers, so the mom of Christopher, died under, quote, suspicious circumstances in their house. So she was a lifelong heroin user, but there was no opioids that were found in her system at the time of her death. She was found naked on the floor, and no one had any clue how it happened. She was taking Dilaudid at the time of her death, and she had taken alcohol too, so that could have been it, but it was just like very strange. And when the cops showed up to like take the body, John Byers was cheating on her with his girlfriend outside of the house.
Outside of the house.
He was like,
He was with his girlfriend, Mandy was her name, outside of the house, like, yeah, my dead broad's in there.
he already had the new girl over?
Oh, yeah. He had the new girl over while his wife was literally on the floor dead.
Hey, he's not a good guy.
He's not a good
And
guy.
he's the one with that hair that they found the hair of.
No, that's a different guy.
Oh.
Wait, the hair?
They found a hair.
The hair was.
No.
Oh, I thought
Yes.
they-
No. That's Terry Hobbs.
Yeah.
Was this the guy that was like, then it was Terry Hobbs that did it?
Yeah. So this is the guy
He
who's
was
pointing
pointing
the
a
finger
finger.
at Terry Hobbs. So,
It's also possible to not do it and still be a piece of shit.
Sure.
right. Of course.
But what an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's a
That's
piece of shit.
insane.
That's a bold move. And they
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
they didn't try to finger him for this murder either, or this death?
They didn't really. So a part of the documentary was trying to finger this John Byers guy, and now they've moved on to Terry Hobbs, which I agree is Terry Hobbs.
Okay.
And the Dixie Chicks do as well. He sued the Dixie Chicks.
Terry Hobbs sued
Yes.
the Dixie Chicks.
So Terry Hobbs was Michael Moore's. No, wait, not Michael Moore. Crap.
There was a kid named Michael Moore.
Oh, it was Michael Moore. I was
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, I was thinking the documentary.
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
was thinking
okay,
too.
yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
There was a kid named Michael Moore.
You're right.
I'm the only one paying attention.
No,
here.
you're right. You're right.
So
You're right.
DNA testing in 2007 identified the hair fragment as Terry Hobbs.
If I'm not mistaken, too, this was the guy that called first, right? Michael Moore was the first kid reported missing.
No, the Byers guy that I just talked about that cheated on his wife.
He's the one that
who
reported
called.
missing?
Yeah.
The
I did not
stepfather.
That was my first instinct.
So we're moving on to Terry Hobbs, who's the other stepfather.
Stepfather or father?
Stepfather.
Oh, okay.
Nobody stays married in this town.
No.
What a horrible place to live. I'm sorry to West Memphis.
I know, it's really horrible. So Terry Hobbs was also quite
The real
character.
issue here is poverty.
Yeah.
I'm no commie, but send these people some money.
Yeah.
Also, Arkansas, Clintons.
The Clintons.
What do you mean?
Yeah, they might be tied to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he from Arkansas?
Yeah, he was the governor of Arkansas.
yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's another thing that's interesting is that Jesse was asked who the president was to show his like mental capacity, and he didn't know who Bill Clinton was. And he's from Arkansas in 1993, and he couldn't even say who Bill Clinton was. Like that's like, okay, this kid, we can't use anything he says, obviously.
Right.
This is insane.
All right, Terry Hobbs.
Terry Hobbs, when he was 24 years old, he broke
Let's
into
call
the
it politics.
yeah. So he was a bad dude. Also, he broke into the home of a neighbor, this lady named Mildred French, who was a elderly lady that lived next to him, and there was like a bunch of crazy stuff. Like,
Got to be an elderly lady.
yeah,
Mildred
Hot
French.
teen
Yeah.
named Mildred French. Yeah.
He reportedly came into her home and grabbed her breasts. She yelled
Jesus.
at him to get out of her home, and she goes, "I was yelling for Terry to get out, and ultimately Terry ran out of my home and ran downstairs to his unit to the bathroom window. The bathroom window over my tub was partially open." And my yelling could be heard outside. So I recall a man was outside across the street working in his yard. I believe that Terry intended to further molest or harm me because his actions and demeanor indicated that was his goal. So she thought that he was going to go back in and rape her. He didn't, though, because the other guy was hearing everything.
Right.
So that's rap sheet number 1.
Jesus.
And also, he was questioned about this, and he was like, I don't fucking talk about that. I don't care. And it's like, okay, well, she might.
Nah, I don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, he's like,
Nah, next.
Nah. He was like presented with
Pass.
papers like, what do you have to say about this? Because this is all when he tried to sue the Dixie Chicks for defamation, because they later said this guy obviously did it, and he was like, you're defaming me, blah blah. Then your whole past comes out when you go to sue somebody, apparently. And so they gave him the papers like, what do you have to say about this Mildred case? And he's like, I'm not reading that bullshit. They were like, okay.
You can't argue with that. But.
Did
They were like, I don't think you can read. So
Did they accuse him in song? Did they accuse him in a song?
no, I
Just
think
like-
they just like.
It's
accused
also
him on
just
the
the
internet.
chicks now, right?
It's just the chicks.
The Dixie part got canceled of their name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually think I knew that. Yeah. All right. So November of 1994.
I actually think I knew that.
I did know that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you knew it. I'm sure you knew it. I'm sure.
Okay. So November of 1994, more than a year after the murders of the 3 children, Hobbs again experienced trouble with the law after an altercation with his wife, Pam Hobbs, where he reportedly hit her. He shot his brother-in-law.
Oh my god.
Dead?
No.
You just
well-
chained him?
Well, basically, so Pam Hobbs called her family and was like, he's beating the fuck out of me. Like she thought he broke her jaw, whatever. And then her family came over to like confront him, and then he shot her brother. So then he shoots her brother in the stomach. He survived that day, but then died later on as a result. He only spent 6 months in jail.
How? He murdered somebody.
I don't.
Okay, it seems like adults in this town are just free to go. It's
Yeah.
only teens that could commit crimes.
Right.
I guess so. So get this. So then there's been new evidence in the case where there was pictures of the boys, and you could see there was bite marks that were like never examined in court. And there's bite marks on their face. Obviously this indicates rage. It's like a very specific, weird crime thing to do. So they went to go test. They took molds of all the West Memphis 3's teeth, and none of the molding fit the bruising on the face. So it's none of them. So they went to go take it from John Byers, and he had all of his teeth removed, and he has dentures now. And then they did the same thing to Terry Hobbs, and same thing, no teeth, only dentures, and he had them removed like basically the month that the fucking murders happened.
Yikes.
So then his wife, Pam Hobbs, now believes that Terry Hobbs did it.
They're still married.
They're not married.
Oh,
they
thank God.
divorced after he shot her brother.
Yeah, that didn't probably help.
That was
thing,
Yeah.
One would call that a breaking point.
And she found in a lockbox partial dentures from that time, and they match. I don't want to get sued by Terry Hobbs, but they match pretty well. If you want to look up some.
Is that why he sued the Dixie Chicks?
Well, the Dixie
The
Chicks
Chicks.
just straight up were like, "Yo, he did it."
And they were right.
Yeah,
No, maybe.
but probably.
Probably.
Yeah. So anyway, she also found a knife that their son Stevie had always carried with them. And then everybody was confused why it wasn't at the crime scene, because Stevie always had it. It was like one of those like little pocket knives that little kids have, and it was also in the lockbox. So I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Also, her sister told her that she saw Terry washing clothes, bed linens, and curtains from Stevie's room at an odd time around the murders. So, I mean, come on.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So this guy's just walking the streets now?
I mean, as far as I know, he's probably in jail for something else, honestly. But
Oh my God.
okay, so you guys ready for this crazy story that was never written in court, or was never brought up in court? So at the time of the murders, there was 2 guys that had come forward, and I think they were like in trouble for something, and they told the police this story, and it was like totally ignored. And in 2013, they wrote 2 more statements in an affidavit. So I think like a little bit of like immunity. They were in trouble again. And this is the story that they told, right? So there was 2 men, Billy Wayne Stewart and Benny Guy. And they claim to have information in the case linking Terry Hobbs to the murders, and they were ignored by the police. And they apparently somebody called the police a few times about this, and they never even received a call back. So their story is that they were with Terry Hobbs. They were looking for marijuana, and they knew some guy who might be holding. So they go over to his place. They get the weed. There's 4 of them in the car. This guy Hobbs, Jacoby's DNA was also found at the crime scene, and 2 teenagers, Hollingsworth and Buddy Lucas, and Billy Stewart and this other guy were also there.
How big is this car?
Right. Hold on. Let's see.
Is it pickup?
Ice cream truck.
An ice cream truck. Okay. The point is, a bunch of them go out into the woods. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're doing all this crazy stuff. So then, or just totally fucking normal stuff in the woods, basically. Mm-hmm. And then Terry asked 2 of the guys to wrestle. Shit gets sexual. And, apparently now they're starting to have sex. And
Wait, what?
Yeah. All the guys are having sex.
They're just having an orgy in the woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so according to...
She said that like it happens. She said they started wrestling.
The woods
Shit got sexual.
boring.
Shit got sexual because they're wrestling. So according to Billy Stewart's statement, he believes that at the point of the sexual activity happened, Terry noticed that the 3-year-old boys were spying on them.
Oh, God.
They were 8-year-old boys, no?
Sorry, 8 years old.
Okay.
They were spying on them. So then he says, in a drunken and stoned rage, Hobbs screamed, "Get them fuckers, catch them." Hollingsworth and Lucas complied, and that's when Hobbs informed the little boys he was going to teach them a lesson. In this affidavit, they also say that he's the one that mutilated the genitals and tied them up and all of those things. None of this has really been looked into.
What?
We don't really know. So it's hard. I might be speaking out of turn here, but I think to have another trial, you would have to first exonerate the people that were found guilty of the crime, because the Alford plea, all 3 of those kids they're technically on paper convicted murderers.
Jesus.
Even though they're out living in Harlem and hanging out.
Right.
So to have another trial without first exonerating them might not be possible. I'm not exactly sure.
It's kind of like double jeopardy, just that it's 2 different people.
Right.
Right? Because double jeopardy means one person can't be charged for the same thing twice.
Yeah.
But this is almost like you just in general can't be convicted twice. I guess it's not like double jeopardy.
There can't be 2 people that are guilty of the same crime.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I don't know if it's a thing.
Right, unless they're accomplices. I don't really know.
Wait, but there are 2 men that back then and still now say that we did it.
Yep.
He was there. He did it. Mm-hmm. And then people just don't do anything with this information?
And people are like, cool story, bye.
Awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty bad. So that now there's new developments in the case. So Damien Echols' lawyers had been told a while ago, because they were like, the Alford plea is great and we're happy he's out, but it's not good enough. We need to be clearing these people, clearing their names.
Right.
And so they were trying to retry the trial and all this stuff. And they were told that all the evidence had been destroyed. So they were like, it got destroyed in a fire.
In a storm.
It was just, I don't know what you want. Like a tornado passed through and took all the evidence. I don't know. So then the judge and the head police guy, whatever his name was, they retired this year, literally a month ago. Mm-hmm. And it turns out all the evidence is there. The bikes, the ligatures, the photos, everything is there. So now Damien's legal team is basically trying to retry it to totally exonerate them. Mm-hmm. And there'd be more to come.
And hopefully to arrest the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who else is obsessed with this case? It's kind of funny is
Wiz Khalifa? I don't know.
Eddie Vedder.
Really?
Oh,
yeah, he's obsessed with it.
All right.
He funded a bunch of stuff for them. Yeah. So that's the West Memphis 3. I mean, I think Terry Hobbs closed case.
West Memphis 3 refers to the victims or refers to the 3 people who were put in jail?
Oh, that's a good point.
The people in jail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is if you think it's Terry Hobbs, it's him and these guys. They were there.
Yeah.
They did it.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Well, they haven't been convicted of it.
What the fuck are we doing?
It's awful.
You tell me what we're doing. But there's other people that look sketchy too, like this Mr.
Byers.
Bojangles guy.
Mr. Bojangles,
Yeah.
Byers.
Yeah, Byers. Like, there's a lot of people that could have done it.
But then there's only one thing where two guys said this is exactly what happened.
Right.
And it kind of makes sense.
It makes total sense. And also it
Except
makes
for the part where it just they went to the woods to fuck. The wrestling was
but it also makes total sense to me that like there's 3 kids. Separately they could get away. If like I'm going this way, Max is going that way, Ben's going that, like it's gonna be really hard to like wrangle them with like one person, you know? So
Yeah.
like, and also
Bet it's a group, yeah.
But it would probably not even just a group, it would be like someone that they know and that they're afraid of, i.e. their stepdad.
I see what
Ah.
you're saying.
You know,
So they
where
can't,
it's like you
just-
like if you move, I'm gonna shoot you.
and it
or
makes
whatever the
sense.
fuck.
I mean, this is
Or you're
like,
gonna
Whatever
get a
good
whooping.
parents
Whatever
say.
good parents say.
it's literally like a
Strict
plot.
parenting.
Well, it's like he has to kill him because this is the stepdad. This child just saw him banging a group of dudes.
Exactly.
You can't have that kid telling the mom.
Right. That's his line of thinking anyway.
Right.
And was he the child of the one with the worst injuries? Was he the
Actually,
stepfather?
no.
Who was what was Byers a stepfather?
Byers was the stepfather, and the Christopher Byers had the worst injuries. But the severed penis thing,
Could have
been the
after
turtle.
fact.
Could have been the turtle.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
they had, these other guys said that they saw him do it.
yeah.
But
They said that they saw him.
Who can believe anybody nowadays?
I don't fucking know, because like,
This is exhausting.
but this
Are these guys already in jail?
I don't know if they're already. I think they're in jail for like separate reasons. I think everyone in this story is in jail for some reason.
Everyone here is a criminal.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty beyond. It's such like it's sad from start to finish and from every angle, and also just the fact that that was like these kids' lives, living with these terrible people, and
Yeah. It wasn't
Every
going
aspect
well.
of it is terrible.
horrible.
Another feel-good episode.
No, this was a rough one.
Oh yeah, sorry guys.
2-parter.
You think?
Hour 20. I think it's a 2-parter.
Could be. Or it could just be a real big one.
Let's just do a real big one.
Let's just fucking drop it.
This is a real big one.
All right.
Oh yeah.
right.
We're at